What is up, guys? 70 Savage here, coming at you with a exciting video today. We are starting the first cabinet inside the van. Alright guys, so the cabinet we're making today is essentially a bench seat that's gonna sit right here with a backrest, and it is going to serve a few different purposes. The first purpose is it's going to house the electrical system, all of the batteries, the inverter, all the major cabling, stuff like that. The second compartment is going to house this dry flush toilet that I have. It's actually really cool how it works. I'll show you guys that in a later video. And then the third section, which is empty right now, is going to be kind of a slide out trash bin for just general use. So before I started making this cabinet, I did a bunch of research. I talked to a couple different professional van builders, and I tried to get a consensus as to what the right way to build cabinets in a van is. Unfortunately, I didn't come to a very consistent consensus. Everybody uses different sort of methods. Some people use 80-20 framing and they wrap it with wood. Other people do European style cabinets where it's just 3/4 inch plywood connected with kind of that modern look on the front. Other people do front face framing, and I had a really tough time deciding on how to make my cabinets. At the end of the day, there's two main things that I wanted out of these cabinets. The first one is strength. It needed to be really strong so that while I'm driving down the road, it's not gonna crack or bend. And B is lightness. Obviously, when you're in a van, weight is a concern, and I wanted them to be as light as possible. So the solution that I settled on is using pine 1x3s to essentially frame out the inside of the cabinet, which is super light. And then I'm going to use a combination of 1/2 inch birch and 1/4 inch birch, depending on the side of the panel. And that's essentially going to wrap the outside of the framed pine 1x3s. I think this is going to provide a really strong solution, and at the same time, it's not going to be super heavy. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this now, and I'll let you guys know how it goes. Alright guys, so I just finished the very first part of the cabinet framing for this bench seat. This is going to be the bench part of the seat that you sit on. It came out pretty good. It's super lightweight. I can pick the whole thing up with one hand, no problem. And it's also pretty strong. It's, you know, I can sit on it, no problem. And I think especially once I wrap it in 1/2 inch plywood as well as 1/4 inch plywood on some parts, it's going to be even stronger. So for the back portion here, we actually had to scribe out the curvature in the top portion of the bench seat here. That was pretty difficult, and you have to take it into consideration in so many different parts, not just the back itself, but these vertical slats in the top slat here. But it turned out pretty well. We made some progress here, specifically on this drawer. It is finally complete, minus the handle, but the whole sliding action works pretty well, and it has a soft close slide. Yeehaw, brothers. It finally stopped raining after about a week of rain straight, and I got quite a work day in today. I got all of the panels on the sides, on the front, as well as a couple neat features here. So both this left side and the right side open up so that you can access the innards. The way that the panels that open up work is they just have a couple of 1x2s on the underside here. The back doors now open. I use these SOSS SOSS brand. They're the model number 101. They fit perfectly if you're using 1/2 inch plywood. I also added a cutout here because the toilet is going to go into this section, and since the bench is taller than the toilet, it was a little bit annoying having this thing like rub on your legs when you were taking a deuce. As far as ergonomics go, it's extremely comfortable. I'm really glad I looked up the dimensions of like a good ergonomic bench online because they happen to be pretty accurate. Albeit this one's a little bit tall because I did have to fit the toilet under it, so it's about 19.5 inches tall. It's going to be about 20 inches when I have the foam on it, when the foam's compressed. So that's pretty tall for most people, but it's definitely doable, and it's allows me to get a ton of functionality out of this bench. So I'm pretty stoked with how it feels and how it looks so far. Now I gotta sand this whole thing down to get it ready for painting. For all the interior surfaces, essentially all the surfaces that aren't gonna be showing on the outside, I'm gonna apply this Seal Coat Universal Sanding Sealer. It's essentially just wax-free shellac. And it's hopefully gonna waterproof all the inside parts so that they will hold up better over time. It doesn't change the color of the wood at all, and it's pretty easy to apply. I just sanded it all down. I tack cloth the interior, and now I am going to just roll this stuff on. So let's have at it. So this is what it looks like with the sealant all throughout the inside. I don't know if you're able to tell on video, but it looks much better. The wood has a lot more depth to it, the actual grain, and it like glistens just a little bit. So pretty much exactly what I wanted for the inside. Now it is time to put the primer on the outside. I'm using this Cover Stain white primer. Everything is primed and ready to go. Time to start painting these cabinets. I am using Valspar Optimus. The color that I'm using is called Modern Gray. Very suiting. Anyways, time to start painting this stuff. Hopefully it turns out well. Let's get cracking. Alright guys, there we have it. The cabinet is completely painted. It came out really well. I was reading online that there's no such thing as a paint that is a one coat wonder, but finding that hard to believe as I just put one coat on this and it's super, it stuck really well, it adhered well, and it also has really good protection. So I've like accidentally kicked the pieces after I painted them a couple times and nothing happened, or I could just wipe it right off. So I did this in a semi-gloss so that any stains or spills on it are really easy to wipe off. Pretty stoked with how this looked. Now let's get it in the van and see what it looks like in production. The time has come. The bench is finally complete. Let me go ahead and give you guys a tour of what this thing looks like in the van. There's a bunch of functionality baked into this thing. So first of all of the back compartments open up. We have ourselves a toilet compartment here, and it's actually fairly comfortable since I did this cut out here. I have a electrical compartment down here. Lastly, we have ourselves a drawer. In terms of the fit and finish, it actually came out better than my expectations. As you can see here, the back curvature of the bench actually matches the back curvature of the van perfectly. It's not pushed up all the way, but it fits perfectly flush once it is. Also, between the bed frame and the bench, there's like almost no gap at all, about 1/8 of an inch, which is what I measured. And between the start of the living area and the cabin, there's also about 1/8 of an inch there. So all of the dimensions are just perfect, and I'm really pleased with how it came out overall. It's you know, super strong, super rigid. I have yet to bolt it to the van, and even before bolting it, this thing's not going anywhere. If you guys enjoyed this bench as much as I do, don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate any interaction with the video. I actually don't get anything back from YouTube from making these videos, so the only reason I do it is to interact with you guys. So any of that stuff is very much appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.